Now that you have spent time shooting some pretty international bands, you have shot the biggest name in Indian music. What would you consider your takeaways from what you had done so far? This was, by this time, it was 2015, right?
Yeah, it was actually no. When I shot for Mr. Rahman, I think it was 2017, 2016, 2017.
Okay. So, what would be your takeaways from what you learned to start off? Because you really had to get yourself unstuck and you set yourself apart from just normal people who want to take pictures of bands.
Correct. So I think, very quickly on, I realized that, uh, you know, with concert photography, we are all, if there's 20 of us in a photo pit, all of us have the same camera equipment. In fact, a lot of them had much better equipment. They've been doing this a lot longer than I have, especially internationally. There's very little you can do to differentiate yourself when it comes to, you're shooting the same pictures of the same people. There's not much you can do. The only way to differentiate yourself is to get better access, right? And better, because obviously then you get a lot more you can shoot, whether it's backstage, whether it's sound check and all of that, and that comes from knowing people. That comes from the ability to network, and that's really, it's just all about who you know. So early on, I think my takeaways, I think the things I did right were, I had a website very early on. I managed to put together some work. I curated some work that I thought would, I could send out to people. I figured out a format with which I could write to people and tell them what I could do for them, more than just saying, "Hey, I want to come and shoot." So those were my takeaways. But really, the biggest thing that I learned was just networking, being an easy person to work with, and that really is the differentiator in a sense, right? It's the level of access you get. So I think those were my big takeaways.
And the work ethic really makes a difference when working with international companies or international bands where they expect a different level of professionalism.
Correct. So that again, when it was 2017 when I first shot abroad. 2016, 2017, I can't remember. But yeah, it was only then that I realized how the kind of equipment you'll need uh, uh, to turn images around. So for example, we're given 3 songs to shoot. And a lot of the photographers I found would shoot half a song, one song, and would run to the media tent and would, start uploading their images. And those images would go on social media. And then it's basically, first mover advantage in a sense, right? For which you'll need almost like a portable office. You'll need a, portable drive. You'll need a decent laptop. You'll need to figure out how to get those images off the camera, all of that stuff. So I found that was a big step, and I had just jumped in. I didn't have a chance to do this gradually and learn and make mistakes and learn. I was shooting for a band, and I decided to jump into it, and thankfully it worked out. Right? There were things that went wrong, of course, but thankfully it worked out. So very early on, I learned from an equipment standpoint, just from a work ethic standpoint, also, right? Whether it's turning in paperwork, a lot of the bands need. You need to sign releases for a lot of the bands. Those need to be turned in on time, rain or shine. There was an incident I remember when I was the first year I was shooting in the UK. I was going to shoot. The bass player of Iron Maiden has another project, and I'm a huge fan of theirs. I was going to shoot that band. I got access, and then they told me they needed me to turn in some paperwork at 2:30. And it was raining, and I went to the media tent at I think 2:45, and they turned me away. They said, "No, you said 2:30," and then I had to, I begged and pleaded, and I got off with a stern warning. They gave me access, but got off with a stern warning. So very early on, I learned that I had to change the way that I worked, and after having worked for so long in India, there's a certain attitude that won't fly in the West. So,
The way I would see it is that the biggest takeaway from what you do from the outside and as another photographer is being able to put yourself out there, not being afraid to call people and not being afraid of rejection.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
where does that come from? Where did you even pick up on having this kind of a mentality of just going after what you want?
So I think, if you look at it early on, like I said, my early work days, right, when I was selling courier services. So I remember at that point, it was, I think, 2 or 3 rupees for, what the value of a courier, a local courier was 2 or 3 rupees. And I had to go, I remember I would go to all these rice merchants in North Madras trying to ask them if they have anything to send via courier that day, right? You'd constantly get rejected, constantly. So very early on, I learned that, it's all right to get rejected, but the problem is if you don't ask, right? And so, like they say, I mean, if you ask, you never know what you'll get if you ask. So to this day, I'm not afraid of, I'm not worried about getting rejected. I get rejected a lot. To this day, I continue to get rejected. But it's something I just do. So I think that's really where it started, right? And early on, the need to have a certain sense of freedom, right? And I would do anything to kind of to get that freedom and to have that sense of freedom. And I think that's why I do what I do even today, right? And I think that's really where the not being afraid of rejection comes from.
When you're on the road, I assume you would need a lot of personal discipline as well, because it sounds like a pretty hard job, as satisfying as it may be.
Yeah.
What are the sort of little tips that you have come up with for yourself to maintain yourself personally?
Yeah. So, quite early on, I learned a lot of the socializing, for example, a lot of the networking, whether it's with the artists or fellow photographers, before a show happens in a bar, right? For me, it's just a rule. I don't drink. I absolutely don't drink when I'm shooting. After whatever I'm done shooting, maybe I might have a drink, but more often than not, I don't drink at all. So I've learned, for example, that I can network. I can still hang out with a lot of these people, but not drink. I don't do the after parties. A lot of the festivals that I'm at, both here and abroad, there are lots of after parties that I don't do. I try to, sleep. I go to sleep immediately after the show. I go back. I send whatever images need to be sent out, and I just go back and I crash. So that's kind of something that that has stood me in good stead, I think. I found a way to network, to socialize, to build those connections without staying up late and drinking and just doing all of that stuff. So that's something that's, worked well for me.